Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats and Stacks podcast. Today we're going over UFC Vegas 42, Holloway versus Rodriguez. It was a phenomenal week again last week. We hit on both of our totals. We hit on both of our locks. And the only one of the dogs hit, but I did personally have Phil Hawes losing. So that was a big, Curtis was a big, like plus 280 dog. So it was a phenomenal betting night last week. We were positive the week before with a big hit. So we're looking to continue the success here. We went from two pay. Usually I do better on the lower cards, and then the pay-per-view, everyone's so good that it's tough to call. It's been the opposite. The UFC pay-per-views we have been killing. So we're just looking to carry that right into this week because it is a little bit of a shit show here. It's not the best card this week, but as long as you can find ways to enjoy the card, as long as you have some money on it, so you can find a bet in each fight here. Some of them are better than others, but that's the only way to make this card acceptable. So let's honestly just hop right into it. Not as many of the last few cards of like 14, 15 fights. This one actually only has 11 with all the cancellations, so we'll be able to get this done a little earlier for you. So the very first fight of the night, we have Kennedy, and sorry, pardon me for trying to say it, Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Dan Un Jung. We have Kennedy as a minus 105 dog, Jung minus 125. Money is coming in on Kennedy. Over under set at 2.5, over 2.5 minus 150, under 2.5 plus 120. We'll start with Kennedy because all the money's coming in on him. He's not good. He's very bad. Even thinking about his last fight, he fought Danilo Marquez, and he got backpacked for an entire round. Second round, he lost a lot of the stand-up to Marquez, and Marquez cannot strike at all. But Marquez gassed himself out doing that, and Kennedy just took advantage, a little rope-a-dope action. The fight before that, you had Carlos Olberg, one of Israel Adesanya's training partners, came in and handpicked Kennedy. They wanted to fight Kennedy because they wanted to look good. And he came out and he styled on him the first round. He was the new style bender. But he got tired, and Kennedy did a little rope-a-dope, and then he came back and got that knockout. I don't know how many times he can do this rope-a-dope shit before it catches up to him. I'm just looking at it here. He's not super old. He's only 29 years old. He's still kind of young. You look, and he took 2 years off after Contender Series. He wasn't in the UFC too long, or he took some time off. He lost to Paul Craig. Then he beat Stosic, and then just kind of, you see 2019 to 2021, just 2 years off. He's been improving. He's had a good camp at Fortis. He has okay striking, but it's very slow and methodical. When he does unleash, it's good, and he has some power, but he just doesn't throw at all. He's so low volume. He's also very hittable, but that's a little deceiving. His numbers look very bad, but at the same time, he's been doing this rope-a-dope thing his last 3 fights, and it's worked. He's gotten wins, but it does not look good in the judges' eyes. If he didn't get those finishes, he would have lost. He has good takedown defense. He has 80% takedown defense. Marquez couldn't take him down. That's why he had to backpack him the whole time. And his cardio checks out, kind of. He doesn't throw, so it's kind of hard to get tired if you're never throwing anything. So I hate him personally. I love what he stands for. I love the whole Nigerian takeover currently with Usman, with Adesanya, the African just takeover with Francis, and Kennedy's been winning just like all the rest of them. So I do appreciate it, obviously, for the culture. But at the same time, I'm not going to let that get in the way of what I think about him as a fighter and putting my money on it. And I just can't do it. He's not good. But I do understand the money coming in solely on the fact that Jung isn't really the best either. He came in with high pedigree, being 14-2 and 1 currently. That one is straight bullshit. That draw should not have been a draw. The judges saved him. He lost to Sam Alvey. That's concerning because Sam Alvey is not good, and he's a middleweight. So that's a very concerning draw, which he really lost. They gave him a 10-8 when he didn't deserve it. He beat Slow Mike Rodriguez. His nickname is Slow, so not really too impressive. He beat William Knight because William Knight could not figure out what a trip takedown is. He did the same takedown, inside trip takedown, 8 times. I don't know why William Knight could not figure it out, but he did it 8 times. And if you take someone down 8 times, that means they got up at least 7 times. So not a lot of good top control when he does get it down. On the feet, he's okay. He does have some power, but he himself is hittable. Is he going to be hittable in this fight? No, because he doesn't throw. But in the third round, he's in a little bit of danger. But looking at it here, it's not as if he gets knocked out. He's never been knocked out. So that's good. Bad news is he does have 2 losses, and one of them was the Rocky Martinez. Rocky Martinez is not good. Getting subbed by him is not a good look. His cardio did check out in all of his fights when he wrestled and when he had to come back in the third round with Sam Alvey. So he has some qualities that are okay, but he also has some very questionable wins. I mean, look at this. He beat someone that was 0-0 named Hulk. Who that just speaks to the level of competition he had over in China. He's only 27 years old, or sorry, in Korea. I do apologize. But he's only 27. He's getting better each fight, but he's just not very good. He beat Cadiz. He beat Cadiz, who was the worst signing the UFC ever had. He's beaten no one. Look at their records, dude. Cadiz, I know it shows that he was undefeated when he beat him, but he is bad. He never won a fight in the UFC. I think he went 0-4 and got finished all 4 fights. But then before Cadiz, he fought someone that was 6-1, whatever, 4-0, 0-3, 8-6, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 16-10, 3-3, 1-3. I mean, who are these guys? So they both suck. I don't want to put money on either one of them. What I would do is probably, I understood betting on Kennedy because it's a 50-50 dumpster shoot. So just put money on the dog. I get that. Then he got up to -105 and it's kind of just halted. So I look at the over and I appreciate it. They both have power. So I'm either going to pass or I'm actually going to take the under because the under's plus money. So if I have to play this, I would play the under and just hope for some good money there. All right. And then the next fight of the night, we actually have an interesting fight. We have Mark Diakasey going up against Rafael Alves. Diakasey at -195, Alves at +155. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 is -172. Under 2.5 at +142. We'll start with the favorite, Diakasey. I like him, honestly. When you watch his fight tape, the kid's pretty good. It's just his very last fight was not his best showing up against Rafael Fiziev. I understand Fiziev is an absolute monster, so believe me, there's no fault there. I totally get it. Went against Lando Venata. It's a great win. Joe Duffy's an okay win. Then he lost his losses to Nazareth. Nazareth's good. Hooker's great. Close is good. So he's only losing to top level competition, but whenever he takes a step up, he seems to have an issue there. I think he is fine. I think he has great striking. His volume's okay. He will have a 5-inch reach advantage. And also in the last fight, Kennedy does have a 5-inch reach advantage. So that's another reason to bet him if you want to as a dog. And again, he likes to counter a lot. He does go forward and he looks good doing so. He's a good striker overall. His last fight he didn't look good, and then he took a year off and now he's back. It's just odd, but I will have to go with history here opposed to just what I saw last. Especially because of his opponent himself. Like I said, he seems to struggle, or Mark Diakasey seems to struggle when he takes a step up. Rafael Alves is not a step up. Don't get me wrong. He has tremendous power and he is dangerous. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's dangerous on the ground as well. But his cardio sucks. He comes in and he looks absolutely phenomenal that round one. He even dropped Damir Asmagulov his last fight. He looked fine round one. And I was nervous because I did have a Damir bet. But then he gassed as he always does. And he's most notorious for having the biggest weight miss in UFC history. He missed by like 11, 12 pounds or something crazy like that. He used to weigh in at featherweight. They told him, no, you're not doing that anymore. You have to go lightweight. And they punished him by giving him Damir, who is a phenomenal fighter, but no one knows who it is. So that's the worst case scenario. He stepped to the plate and did it because of his failed weigh-in against Pat Sabatini. And now this fight is at 155 as well. So I think he's going to make the permanent move here. I think the UFC is forcing him to. And he's super hittable. He's super low volume. I do like Raphael just because he's such a killer in round one. I love watching him round one. Um, but after that, you don't want to have money on him. So he's one of these guys that are scary to bet against, but you can't bet on. But again, Mark is careful enough to where he should be fine here. So the pick, and if Fazeev didn't knock him out, he has a good enough chin to where I don't think Alves is gonna knock him out. I mean, even looking at Casey's losses, I don't recall him. Let me double check here, but I don't recall him getting knocked out a ton. No, he lost. He has 4 losses. One of them is by decision for sure. His last fight where he looked atrocious. Fight before that, who did he lose to? It was Nazarat was before that. That was decision. He got guillotined by Dan Hooker. That's suspect. And then Drakkar Close he won a split, so it's a close fight. So yeah, he's never been knocked out before. That's probably Alves' best path. Again, Alves is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he will die for submission. So it scares me a little. But the pick is going to be Mark. And honestly, I feel fine with him at minus 195. I don't have a lot of good plays here, so he might have to anchor a lot of my parlays here, which is kind of scary going up against Alves saying that. But if they fight 10 times, I feel like Mark wins a good 7 or 8 of them. So I feel pretty confident in Mark. Next fight is another scary one. I feel pretty confident in Courtney Casey at minus 245 as a favorite. Luana Jojua is a plus 185 dog, over 2.5 minus 215, under 2.5 plus 165. We'll start with Courtney Casey, aka Chick Diaz. Yes, she is 9-9, and yes, I am backing her. She came in where she's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, so she's decent on the ground. Her striking is improving every single fight. You see her getting better and better. And a lot of her fights were at 115. The problem is at 125, she seems to get overpowered a little bit here. And that results in a really bad takedown defense. Even at 115, it was bad. It's in like 30% range. It's very, very bad. You can take her down. And she does get a little complacent on her back. I don't like that by any means. But all in all, she's an overall just good fighter. The split to JJ Aldridge, I could have saw it either way. Jillian Robinson, yeah, so she got choked out, but she was staying safe. She was losing the fight, so she just went for broke and got caught in a rear naked choke in the last few seconds. But then you see wins with arm bars. You see a win over Angela Hill is huge. And you got to look at who she's fighting, man. Honestly, look, she beat Ronda Marcos, which is fine. Ronda's another 50-50 fighter that is better than her record shows. She fought Claudia Cordelia. She fought Felice Herrig, Michelle Watterson, Angela Hill. That's a great win. Cynthia Calvillo, Maria Barella is not the greatest. Jillian Robinson's good. JJ Aldridge is okay. So she's fighting nothing but great fighters. Then you go over to her opponent here in Liana. I understand that she's one of these Georgian warriors, but she's not very physically strong, which is going to pay dividends for Courtney and why I'm backing her. Courtney struggles with girls that can come in and overpower her. That is not Liana. She has 8 career wins. I want to say like 7 of them are by armbar. It's nuts. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are by armbar. She has 1 finish and she has 1 decision. That's insane. Like, I don't understand why girls keep taking her down. Diana Balbita was whooping her ass and then jumped and took her down. Like, I don't understand. And then she got armbarred. I don't understand why girls do that. But Courtney Casey, again, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt. Balbita, Liana, I actually think is only a purple belt. So I don't think she's going to tap out Courtney Casey. And we saw nothing but her stand up her last fight against Miranda Maverick. I thought it was an early stopping it due to like a cut. I think they were just trying to protect her in all honesty because she was getting tore up on the feet. But she doesn't throw a lot of volume. She's super, super hittable. Like, it's a big difference in strikes. And her wrestling's not good. So if her wrestling's not the greatest, and that's how you beat Courtney Casey, if her striking's not good and Courtney's decent on the feet, if she always wins by submission and Courtney is the higher belt rank, it just screams Courtney all day. So the pick is going to be Courtney. Although I don't trust Courtney fully because she does have a little bit of an interesting just ring IQ. It's not the greatest. There's just too many things in her favor. She's just a little bit better everywhere. So the pick is Courtney, and I will have Courtney in some parlays as well. Right. Then the next fight, all of these are so close, and I just can't trust them fully. Another one is Sean Woodson here at minus 335. Colin England plus 250, over 2.5 set at minus 202, under 2.5 at plus 162. I like Woodson. I take that back. I don't like Woodson. I like him in this fight. I do think he's going to win, but he's someone that scares me, man. He does not have the best cardio. It's looked better. Don't get me wrong. It looked better his last fight against Yusuf Zalal. His wrestling is pretty good. He does have like an 80% takedown defense or 90%. It's something pretty high. He has great striking. I think he was like a Golden Glove boxer at one point or something. He has a huge reach advantage here. Anyone he faces, he's going to have a reach advantage. I don't know how he makes 145. It's very frightening. He did miss it against Juicy J, and he gassed out in that fight. So maybe that was more attributed to the weight cut than just his overall conditioning. I don't really know. I've only seen him twice personally, like fully. But anyway, he doesn't have a ton of power. I know it shows a knockout over Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney does not have the greatest chin. I love Terrence because he's kill or be killed, and he got caught with a flying knee. You see how bony Sean Woodson is? You imagine that knee catching you in the perfect spot. Yeah, you're going to go out. But other than that, he does not have good power at all. All of his wins are by decision. I mean, look at him. Zalal, decision. Erosa, he lost. Baushniak, decision. Richard, decision. Seth, decision. And these are on the regional scene. So if you're getting decisions on the regional scene, it's a little frightening. His ground game is not good. That's not what he does, but it is improving. He was going for a ton of guillotines against Yusuf, and they were tight, man. Yusuf is very, like, damn near impossible to tap out. Kind of like how Benson Henderson was at one point, where you thought it was just impossible to tap him out. Kind of the same thing with Yusuf. Like, he was in some tight guillotines against Ilya Taporia, and he kept getting out. But yeah, Woodson was in there tight. Most men would have tapped. So his guillotine's sneaky, man. He has those skinny arms, and he'll slap it on there. Otherwise, his jiu-jitsu off his back isn't anything. He just tries to get up. He has great coaching. He is at Glory MMA with James Krause. He has an advantage everywhere. It's just, I don't know how his gas tank is, and he has no power. Goes to a lot of like split decisions. Not the biggest fan there. But his opponent's not the greatest here, Colin England. I know he has a wrestling background at Michigan State, but I don't really see it too often. To me, he's just more of a generalist. He doesn't wrestle as much as I would want him to. His wrestling is good. His striking's okay. His jiu-jitsu's okay. He's another Dana White contenders guy. So, you know, contender series versus contender series. He has pretty high output, which is good for him. And he does have good cardio. I'll give him that. So he'll probably win round 3 in all honesty. But I think Woodson will have a little bit of a lead. It might be a little bit of a greasy split decision or something like that. But all in all, the only way to describe this man, he's the definition of a generalist. If he wants to come in and wrestle, that'd be his best path. And he might try to do so, but Woodson has 81% takedown defense. So even if he does get one eventually, Woodson does pop back up. At least that's what he's been doing, unless he gasses out doing that. So, I mean, Colin has a path. That's why I don't like Woodson at minus 335. You give someone with cardio against someone without it. I never like betting them, especially at minus 335. So I'll pick Woodson to win, but I'll actually bet the over 2.5. If Colin wins, I think it's going to be a late finish. If Woodson wins, I think it's going to be a decision. So I hope that late finish is past that 2.5 marker if Colin gets the upset. And if Woodson wins, I can almost guarantee it's by decision. So pick is Sean, bet is going to be the over. And we're just sticking with the common theme here of favorites that should win. They have a path to win, but I just don't trust fully. We're still rolling here with Cynthia Calvillo as a minus 140 favorite over Andrea Lee at plus 110. We have over 2.5 set at minus 302, under 2.5 at plus 232. We'll start with Cynthia and why I'm a little nervous. She has great wrestling. She has okay striking. She's kind of hittable in all honesty. But her losses, I mean, she's 9-3. Her losses are to Jessica Andrade, former champ, Caitlin Chukagian, fought for the title, and Carla Esparza, former champ. I mean, what are you going to do? Those are good losses to have. She has good wins. She beat Joanne Calderwood's a good win. Courtney Casey's a good win. She went to a draw with Marina Rodriguez. That looks impressive now. Jessica Ai is an okay win. Like, she's doing what she's supposed to do. I don't think she's bad by any means. I just don't know how I feel about her at 125. Yeah, she's a good wrestler, but she kind of bullies you. She's not really technical. She's more of, she knows the technique and she utilizes it, but she relies on a lot of brute strength to get you down to the ground. And she moved up a weight class, struggling to make 115. And it's, I mean, yes, she only has 3 fights there, and she's 1-2 at 125. I don't want to fault her for losing to Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade is a tank, but Jessica Andrade used to fight at 115. Caitlin Chukagian used to fight at 135, but she's not a wrestler. Caitlin Chukagian is known for being a kickboxer, and you can take her down. And she struggled with it because she couldn't overpower Caitlin, and that kind of scares me. And Jessica Ai, she did beat, but Jessica Ai also, I mean, she's not the greatest wrestler, so I don't know. It's not the greatest look here. So I do think she's talented. I do think she wins when she has to, and her losses are not bad by any means. But you can almost say the same for her opponent here at plus money and Andrea KGB Lee. I mean, yeah, she shows 5 losses on her record, but some of them are a little sketchy. And a lot of that's her fault for always having close fights. But Jillian Calderwood was a split decision. Could have went either way. Lauren Murphy split decision. Most people scored it for Andrea Lee. Roxanne Mataferi was a unanimous decision, but looking at fight odds, some people scored it for Andrea KGB Lee. I mean, those are 3 losses right there. Those are her 3 UFC losses, and they were ones that even before in Invicta she lost to Roxanne, and it was a split. So I mean, all of her losses are by decision outside of one rear naked choke here, and all of them were like split decisions or fights that people actually like gave her way. So I mean, she's a great striker. She is okay jiu-jitsu. The problem is her takedown defense. She gets taken down often. And yes, that's what Cynthia's going to want to do. KGB does get up to her feet, though. So how often is Cynthia going to be able to keep taking her down and holding her down? Because on the feet, Andrea Lee has the advantage. On the ground, when it comes to like submissions and BJJ, I think Andrea Lee has the advantage. But the wrestling, it's weird because Angela Lee gets taken down all the fucking time. It doesn't seem too difficult to do it, 50% takedown defense, but then she gets it back. And like, yeah, Roxanne Mataferi took her down 3 times, but she took down Roxy twice. Like she answers when you take her down. So it's a little weird. Like, she can take you down but can't stop you, but she has the higher volume. She's a 5-inch reach advantage, and she is jacked. She's a big girl at 125, not in a bad way by any means. She's jacked. She's just muscular, and Cynthia's not going to be able to muscle her. So the pick is going to be Andrea, and the bet would be Andrea at plus money. Just give me the dog or pass, baby. All right, then the next fight of the night is kind of the same situation, in all honesty. Thiago Moises minus 250, Joel Alvarez plus 190, over 2.5 minus 190, under 2.5 plus 150. I'll be 100% honest with you. This one is not technical. This is just gut feeling. And right now, Thiago Moises has great jiu-jitsu, high-level black belt. His striking has improved leaps and bounds, and he's currently at ATT, one of the best camps you can be at, and I see him improving. His volume's a little lower on the low side, and he is a little hittable, and he does have a suspect chin. He has not been knocked out to my knowledge. Let me double check that. I don't think he's been knocked out, but he's been dropped in a plethora of fights. I mean, Bobby Green dropped him. Michael Johnson dropped him multiple times. I can't remember if Demir dropped him. He gets dropped every fucking fight. But he rallies. I mean, that's good for him that he's able to be durable enough to come back. But you see his striking getting better and better. The Thiago Moises that fought Michael Johnson is not the same Thiago Moises that just fought Islam Makhachev. Just fought Islam Makhachev. So I do give Thiago credit. He's better everywhere in this fight, in all honesty. But Joel, man, I don't know why. He's on a roll right now, and for some reason I feel like this line is just too disrespectful. Yes, Tiago is a black belt, but Joel is too. And Joel is a little different on the ground. Tiago is really safe, and then he'll find the submission where he needs it. Alvarez is not position over submission. Alvarez is, I'm going to take a neck or I'm going to take an arm, whatever you give me, I'm taking it, and I'm taking it home. And that's all he goes for. I mean, look at his wins. Armbar, guillotine, ground and pound on the ground. Nice. Triangle, Darce, triangle, guillotine, guillotine, triangle, ground and pound. Like once he hits the mat, you're toast. Literally. I think all of his wins are finishes. Literally. So, I mean, this dude is a killer, but he is hittable on the feet as well, just like Tiago. He does have a 7-inch reach advantage, which should go to his favor. So it might give him a little confidence to go forward, but Tiago's better counter striking, in all honesty. He's better fighting off his back foot. He doesn't look good going forward. He looks good going backwards, which is very peculiar. But Joel's low volume too. So I think it's pretty much a tie on the feet. I think it's a tie on the ground. Joel can't wrestle at all. I think he has 0% takedown defense, but he wants to go on the ground. It's just going to be a matter of, can Tiago stay safe down there? Because if he's losing on the feet, he can take Joel down. And I don't foresee Joel just tapping him out right away, but it's not as if you can't tap out Tiago. Islam did. I don't know. I think Tiago's the better fighter. I don't know about this value. If it hits over 200, I said I would bet Joel. And it's been sitting at plus 190 for the longest time. So the pick is Moises. That honestly, I might have to just take the value in Joel. I don't know why. He's not the better fighter, but the value, you got to take it. And then this is actually the one where I'm kind of confident in. We have Song Yudong as a minus 140 favorite going up against Julio Arce at plus 110, over 2.5 minus 215, under 2.5 plus 165. Start with Yudong. He's young and getting better and better every fight. You see it every single fight. His last fight against Casey Kenny, I counted him out tremendously, and he proved me wrong. Good for him. His fight against Marlon Vera, everyone talks about how Marlon got robbed. If anything, I thought it was a draw, so it's not like he lost. Cody Stamen, I did think he lost, and they rewarded him a draw. So, and then the Kyler Phillips fight, he got outclassed by Kyler Phillips, in all honesty. Vince Morales is a decent win. Like, I mean, he has good wins on his record, nothing too crazy. When they give him a step up, he did step up against Casey Kenny. So, he all in all, good fighter. He trains out of Alpha Male. He good because he needs to work on his wrestling. He's a good striker. He has a ton of power, but you can back him up a little bit. And his wrestling is getting better. But again, that's partly how young he is. He's only 23. This dude just had like 5 fights in the UFC, and he's only 23. So, no, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's had 6 fights. This is gonna be a 7th fight, and he's 23 years old in the UFC. Oh my God, there's so much more. I take it back. My God, this is gonna be like his 9th fight. What is going on here? This dude. But that's why you see him getting better and better. So I don't like getting out in front of young fighters that you see growing each and every fight. Only problem is he's fighting Julio Arce, who's a veteran of the game, and he's good, man. He's so underrated. He's the guy that no one seems to care about. I know everyone talks about how old he's getting, how he had like double elbow surgery because he's just old as shit, but old dogs can still bark, baby. This dude is 32 years old. It's not like he's decrepit or anything by any means. He's a great striker. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He will have the advantage on the ground. Wrestling wise, I think it kind of balances out, in all honesty. But Arce has really good takedown defense. And you want to talk about Dong fighting from decent people. Let's talk about Julio, because he actually went up to featherweight for a stint. And he didn't just go to featherweight and fight like a lot of people that go up a weight class and fight because they don't want to cut weight. This dude went up to featherweight, and he lost a split decision to Hakeem Dawodu. He is phenomenal up there at featherweight. He beat Juicy J. Arosa, who's okay, but he head kicked him to shit. I was there for that. He beat Dan Ige, who was ranked like number 5 at featherweight at one point. So it's not like he's just going out Daniel Tamor and he's finishing him. So it's not like he just went up to featherweight because he didn't want to cut weight. he was getting wins and he was like getting finishes over over good competition. So let's not get it twisted. Otherwise, at bantamweight, he's been very good. He lost to Brian Kelleher twice. I don't know why he can't beat Brian Kelleher. But all in all, he's a really good fighter. He's well-rounded everywhere. He has 90% takedown defense. So it's going to be a stand-up fight. And he has a 3-inch reach advantage. So give me the old man at plus money, baby. I'll take Arce at plus 110, and he's probably one of my favorite dogs of the card. If there's going to be a dog that I like a little better, it's literally the next fight. We have plus 110 on Kalen Chaos Williams. You'll see him listed as Chaos. You see it listed as Kalen. Kalen is his legal name, but he goes by Chaos. So on some books, you'll see Chaos. On some books, you'll see Kalen. It's the same guy. Miguel Bieza, minus 140. Over 2.5 is even money. Under 2.5 at minus 130. I'm talking about him. Let's go right into Chaos. Great striking. Great power. At the beginning of his career, he did have a decent amount of decisions. But then it started turning into strikes and such. So it's not like he goes out there and he's just a round one killer be killed. He does have some decisions, but he has a lot of first round knockouts too. I mean, Alex Morono, 27 seconds, 459 in the regional scene. Let's see. A minute, 2 minutes into the second round. When this dude hits you, you feel it. He does a lot of blitz attacks. He has really high volume, great cardio. It seems to check out. He'll take 2 seconds off and then he'll blitz you. He's super durable. He's never been finished. And honestly, I have no idea about his wrestling or his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've only seen him in stand-up affairs. So that is a little concerning because it's just a mystery, but someone's got to get him there in order to find out. And I don't think Miguel Bieza is that guy. Not really known for his wrestling. I mean, it's okay, but it's not like he's going to be the guy to come out and have a wrestling heavy game plan. He has phenomenal leg kicks. I mean, his loss to Santiago Panzanivio, Santiago couldn't even walk after round 1 for a little bit. He somehow caught a second win. MMA Masters is on the rise. It's a really good gym right now. Miguel in his own right has very good striking, very good jiu-jitsu. It's very underrated. He is a little hittable. He is a little chinny. I've seen him rocked on multiple occasions. Santiago rocked him pretty badly. Matt Brown rocked him pretty badly. But then he came back and he won against Brown. And he came back and, I mean, Santiago, he didn't go away easily. So Miguel's good, man. But it's weird. Like they talked about it on the Dogger Pass podcast. You always look at him as a young up-and-coming prospect. Dude's almost 30 years old. Chaos Williams actually 2 years younger. So it's weird. He gives you a young vibe, but, I mean, he's almost 30. He's entering his prime, and this prime is a top 15 prime, not a heavyweight or not a welterweight champion prime. So Chaos, he has some decisions, or he knocks you out in the first round. Beza's been rocked in a lot of fights, and I think this is the one where he goes out. So I think it's an even fight on the feet. I do. The wrestling, we don't know about Chaos, and the jiu-jitsu, we don't know. So at that juncture, if this is going to be a stand-up affair, because they both like to stand and bang, give me the guy with more volume and more power. So the pick is going to be Chaos. The bet would be Chaos as well, just solely on that power and because he does throw more. So more likelihood to actually catch him. Then we're almost done here. We have Felicia Spencer at minus 305 going up against Leah Letton at plus 230. Over 2.5 is minus 220. Under 2.5 at plus 170. We'll start with Felicia. The first thing you'll think about Felicia is her ground game. It's phenomenal. Her jiu-jitsu is just top-notch black belt. Her striking's good, man. It's very, very sneaky good. I didn't realize until she fought Norma that she had a like Taekwondo background or karate background, whatever it is. She threw a lot of kicks, and they looked phenomenal in all honesty. It's just her wrestling where it sucks. She is a high-level black belt. She's so good on the ground, but she can't fucking get it there because she can't wrestle. Her cardio checks out, and she's durable as all hell, man. You're not going to finish Felicia Spencer. She's a big girl for the weight class. Again, in a good way. She's awesome. I like Felicia Spencer a lot. I know she's on a little bit of a skid. You'll see her with a 2-fight losing streak. But one of them was to the GOAT, and one of them is to my favorite fighter in the division in Norma. So, hey, It is what it is. That's good competition that you lost to. You also lost to Cyborg. So you lost to the two goats of the division. You beat Megan Anderson, who is very good, and you choked her out easily. Saw that live. She's good. Felicia, I have no negatives against Felicia besides her wrestling is absolutely atrocious. Leah, on the other hand, is known for her striking. I don't have a lot of info on Leah. I didn't have a lot of fight tape to watch on Leah. I know she had a ton of injuries and she has not fought since 2018. So I don't like that. I know she was on the Ultimate Fighter. She beat Bia Malecki on there, I believe, and then lost to the lost to the winner in Macy. Macy took her out with some body strikes, and Macy's good, so no shame there. Then she won a split to Julia. I don't think you should be going through a split with Julia Stoliarenko. It's not very good. I think she's cut already. So that's not the best look. But again, Leah, we haven't seen for 3 years. She said she has made leaps and bounds of improvements, but I'm going to have to see it first. I didn't see enough from her to warrant any sort of bet on her. I saw Felicia striking, and honestly, it looked better. Again, this is old fight tape I was watching. We haven't seen this girl in 3 years, but I saw Felicia a few months ago, and she looked good on the feet. And I know that she has a ground game advantage, like a huge ground game advantage. So if it somehow hits the ground, it's all Felicia. If it's on the feet, it's probably 60-40 Felicia. So pick is Felicia, and I'll probably end up parlaying her. She actually might be my anchor in my parlay at -305. Then we're at the co-main event. I don't know how the fuck this is a co-main event. We have Marcos Rogerio de Lima at +130 going up against Ben Rothwell at -165. Over 2.5 is +115. Under 2.5 at -145. Let's just start with Papa Ben here. He has his striking used to be good, but he's old and it's very, very slow now. His jiu-jitsu is sneaky good. It's not bad. He has a lot of good front chokes. He has that 10-finger guillotine and the go-go choke and things like that. But he is hittable. He does a lot of pump fakes now. It's like he's a basketball player. Doesn't look the greatest. Again, his strike's not the great, but he is durable. He's super durable. He's hard to put away. I know Kate knocked him out, but it was one of those standing knockouts, and that was a long time ago. I know Gabe choked him out, but again, that was in 2013, and Gabriel Gonzaga is a black belt. So he has 70% takedown defense, so it's pretty good. And he does go forward, which is crucial here. His cardio is not good, but it's not terrible. But it's crucial here because Marco Rogerio de Lima is bad. He's very bad. First and foremost, he's a light heavyweight. He's not a heavyweight. He moved up to heavyweight because he stopped cutting weight because he's old. And I'm telling you right now, he weighs in like 10 pounds heavier every single fight. And he does not look any better any fight. He hits super hard. He's supposedly a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but he's been tapped out all of his losses, basically. Von Flue choked by OSP. Forearm choked. If you're a black belt, you should not be getting choked out by someone's forearm. Stefan Struve hit him with the arm triangle. Rear naked choke by Krylov. Like, what is going on here? How is he a black belt? Otherwise, he has decent power. He's someone that's not going to go for subs on the ground either. If he gets you down, he's going to hold you down and try to control you because he does not have the energy to keep taking you down. Most of his takedowns, you watched him against Maurice Green where he dominated a decision. He grabbed Maurice was pretty skinny for that fight. He was in shape, but he kept body lock taking him down. You're not going to do that against Big Ben. Big Ben is that big old gut. He's the larger man. You're not just going to body lock him and take him down. The way to take down Big Ben, again, he has 70% takedown defense. The last time I saw him down was Tybor, and he attacked the legs. Ben's not the most flexible, and he was able to drag him down that way. A body lock is not going to work on Ben. So then you're looking at a stand-up affair. And Lima can't go backwards. I talked about Thiago earlier where he looks better going backwards. Not everyone is like that. Most people aren't. And I'm telling you right now, Lima for damn sure is not. Lima can't go backwards. And all Ben does is go forward. Eventually, Lima's going to get tired backing up. And I have Ben winning probably inside the distance, in all honesty. Lima's probably going to try to shoot. All I see is Lima trying to take a shot because he's losing or gassed, and then Big Ben just choking him out. I see it happening over and over on repeat in my mind to the point where Big Ben by sub is like +300. It's not even anything crazy. So Pick is going to be Ben. The bet would be Ben minus 165. Not bad odds at all. He will be in some parlays, sadly. And then that already takes us to the main event. We have Yair Rodriguez as a plus 475 dog up against Max Holloway at minus 800. Over 4.5 is minus 140. Under 4.5 at plus 110. We'll start with Yair just because it's a little more interesting because we haven't seen him in so goddamn long. The last time we saw Yair was fighting Jeremy Stevens back in 2019 or what year was that? That was so long ago. It feels like. He had the draw or the eye poke, and then they rematched. So the last fight was in 2019. Yeah. Jesus. He had that crazy elbow with 1 second left against Yan Sun Jung. But Jung was dominating that fight. That was a lucky shot. I love Yair. I love the way he fights. As a person, he's a dick, but in the cage, he's fun to watch, I should say. He doesn't have the greatest wrestling in the world. It's not very good at all. But his striking is very, very creative. The dude throws all these flying knees and spinning attacks and kicks and off the cage. He's wild, and I love that stuff. On the ground, he's not just sitting there off his back. He's fishing for arm bars and triangles and just throwing stuff up there. Great cardio. Yeah, I should say he has good cardio when he's winning. He can go 5 rounds. He doesn't necessarily look like the greatest in round 5, but he can go all 5 rounds. Not a lot of negative to say about him. He's a good fighter. Problem is we haven't seen him in 2 years. And I think he's just biting off a little more than he can chew currently with Max. Max will tell you himself, and I'll agree with him. He has the best boxing in the division and possibly in the UFC. He has high volume, high volume. 84% takedown defense. So you're not just going to go in there and take him down. Durable as all hell. He's only been finished. I think DP finished him via submission once, and that was the only time he's ever been finished. Connor couldn't knock him out. Bermudez couldn't knock him out. Dustin the second time couldn't knock him out. And Volk. Great cardio. The dude gets better and better as the fight goes. Kind of like you see Peter Yan, phenomenal striker, and he gets better as the fight goes. That's exactly what Max does. Max is the original, and Max has been around forever, since he was 20 years old, and he's only 29. It's crazy to think that this dude is only 29 years old. He still has another 5 good years in him. I think he should be champ currently. I thought he beat Volk the second time, but it is what it is. It shouldn't have been that close. And Volk is phenomenal as well. They don't want to just keep booking him against Volk, but he fucking killed Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar was supposed to be the most precise striker, and Max went out there and at one point was not looking at Kattar, hitting him. He was literally talking to the commentators and punching Kattar in the face while not looking at him. That is next level shit. This dude is ridiculous. I love Max. He's not going to lose to anyone but Volk. So the pick is going to be Max, but you can't bet him at minus 800. So we're going to do the same thing. I know it's not giving you a ton of value with these parlays, but I'm going to throw him in every single parlay. And if there's still a survivor at the end, I'm going to hedge with that year because plus 475, that's a ton of value. So if you're going to place a bet, you might as well just throw Max on there because what do you have to lose at this point? Because Yair at plus 475, you can just hedge everything. So pick is going to be Max. Bet is going to be Max in every parlay and hedge with Yair. So that is UFC Vegas 42. It's an interesting card. You will need to bet to make it a little more exciting. All of the official picks post weigh-ins will be up on Saturday, possibly Friday night. It'll be the link for the Instagram, for the Twitter, as well as we post TikToks. That's going to be on Saturday and Friday as well. And I'll leave the links in the description. Otherwise, let's have another phenomenal week. Keep the trend going and get paid, baby.